Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. Court is in session and calls number 331-606, case of South State of Texas versus Christina Marie George. Ms. George, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Ms. George, would you please raise your right hand? Ms. George, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
How are you doing, Ms. George?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Ms. George, I have before me two documents. First document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. You recognize this document? And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Are these your initials on the line? Say you want to waive your right to an attorney to represent yourself?
Yes, sir.
And I also have a document that's titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Ms. George, I also have a document here that's titled Information. This information alleges that on or about July 10th, 2021, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of theft with prior conviction. Ms. George, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes, sir.
And to this charge, Ms. George, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, no contest?
Guilty.
Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily?
Yes, sir.
And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty?
Yes, sir.
Ms. George, I also have another document before me. This document is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishments. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 2 of the same document, she didn't sign down here whether or not she wanted to discover it or not. Hold on a minute.
All right.
Okay, Ms. George, I also have before me a document that's titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. On page 2 of this document, there are two sets of initials. The first set of initials is on the line next to the box that's checked guilty. The initials are KG. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
The next set of initials, Ms. George, is below a paragraph that is titled Discovery Certification, Discovery Admonishment. And the initials KG are on a line that states, I do not request discovery of evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest.
Yes.
Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Ms. George, there is a signature above the line that is titled Defendant.
Yes, sir.
Did you place your signature on this document?
Yes, sir.
Also, I have before me a document that is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant Signature?
Yes, sir.
At the top of this document, there are two boxes that's checked. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to appeal, which means you're giving up your right to appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. George, before you sign and initial all of these documents that I've mentioned to you, did you read the documents?
Yes, sir.
And did you understand what you read?
Yes, sir.
And is everything in these documents true and correct
Yes, sir.
to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, sir.
Now, Ms. George, do you waive a record in this case?
No, sir.
You like to have a court reporter?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Do you, okay, you have a right to have a record. A record means that you have a right to have a court reporter to type down everything that's being said, or you have a right to waive it or give up your right.
I'll give up my right.
Okay, so you waive your right to have a record. Now, Ms. George, are you a citizen of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer stage 1.
Ms. George, the state is offering State's Exhibit number 1 into evidence. State's Exhibit number 1 is the document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. That's the document that you acknowledged earlier. This is the same document that have your initials on page 2
Yes, sir.
and your signature on page 3.
Yes, sir.
The state would like to use this document as evidence in your case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case? Okay, no objections. State's Exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Ms. George, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand charge? No, to stand trial. Okay, there's no evidence that you're mentally incompetent to stand trial. Ms. George, I will accept your plea. Now, Ms. George, what was your plea to this charge?
Guilty.
Okay, I'm looking at the paperwork. It says no contender or no contest. Hold on a minute. Yeah, paperwork. Yeah, she put has guilty on here.
I put guilty on the paper, so that's helps. Is it no contest?
No contest on there. Okay, no, I'll give it back to you. Now, Ms. George, you are a U.S. citizen, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And state, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
Your Honor, in exchange for defendant's plea of guilty in this case, the state is recommending confinement in the Jefferson County Jail for a period of 13 days, Your Honor. We're asking that the court give defendant credit for the 13 days she previously spent in jail, making this a time-served plea agreement, Your Honor. And lastly, we're asking that the court use the time served for both tax and retirement court costs.
Ms. George, the state is offering that you serve 13 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you will not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 13 days in Jefferson County Jail. Therefore, you'll be given credit for the time that you've already served. The court cost in this case is $337, but you will not have to pay the $337 because the time that you spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Ms. George, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Ms. George, I will follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Ms. George, this will conclude your case. You're gonna stand on the X in front of our court and in front of our court clerk. And please follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
You have a blessed one too. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so I already got your thumbprint, so that's good. This is a copy of the